County Commission here in Oneida County. I missed the Farm Bureau Meet the Candidate night, so I thought I'd sit down with the different candidates and have a conversation with them and see what their thoughts are for their candidacy. Hi, Mike.
Hi.
So you're running for county commission. You're going to be taking the place of
Bill Lewis.
Bill.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Bill's spot. So you've been in the lad for a little bit.
I have been all my life other than 7 years, where I lived in Idaho Falls. First off, I went to ISU, graduated out of the diesel program, and then I went to Idaho Falls and worked for a company up there that sold mining and construction equipment. And I worked for them for 7 years as a field mechanic. And I loved the job. I traveled from Twin Falls clear to DuBois, Wyoming, to, up in Montana, to Dillon, Montana, clear down here to the border. And I repaired anything from mining equipment to road construction equipment, loaders, stuff like that. Went to Soda Springs quite a bit. I loved the job, but then when my parents decided to retire, I had the opportunity to come back to my lab to help go in partnership with my brother and take over the farm. And I really wanted to raise my family here. It's a good place to raise family. And that was a deciding factor. We had 3 girls at that time, and we'd come back to Malad then, and I never regret it. It's a good place to raise family.
Yep. So running for county commission, why are you running?
Well, there's a few things. The main part is like my body is getting wore out from mechanic and all these years, and I feel like I still got something that I can offer the county,
right?
And so I think it'd be an honor to serve as county commissioner, and kind of help the county along, try and change a few things to make things better for landowners and property owners, and to streamline a little bit of the planning and zoning, to progress the weed problem that we have in our county, to try and help repel that the best we can. Whatever we need to do on road and bridge. There's several things that we have an opportunity that need the help to move along, to help our county.
Okay. What is the purpose of planning and zoning in your mind?
So planning and zoning, my thoughts were at first was that it would protect infringing upon your neighbor is what I thought planning and zoning was for, is to help protect infringing upon them. But after I wanted to sell a 5-acre lot, and time I got through that process of doing that, I have found out that it's a hard process. As a landowner, your rights are limited and very restricted. The things that I had to do, and the process from the time that I first walked into planning and zoning till the time I got it signed off, I was 1.5 years. And it was just a complicated, problematic system the way it was. Yeah, I'd go in and visit and find out what I needed to do. I would do that, and I'd come back and find out I had to do something else. And it was continually that way. And then we come to an agreement and thought everything was good. And I'd come back and turn it in, and the county engineer, which, by the way, is paid by the hour and not by the job, is paid by the hour. So I felt like he didn't want to sign off on anything because every time it got back to him again, there's money in his pocket. And so it ended up costing me a big chunk of money to be able to sell a piece of property.
Yeah. There was a question that was asked the last Meet the Candidate night, which was that I attended, which was I think 2 years ago. They said that Luke Waldron's place out there in Samaria, that they have a cap of 1,000 people, I think, that could be on his property. But state conference, we're well over that 1,000 person cap, and they asked the question that came after that was, is that fair that the church gets a variance but an outdoor setting doesn't?
Oh, I didn't know anything about that, but no, that's not right at all. Especially in an outdoor setting. I mean, what harm is it going to do to have a larger crowd in a setting like that?
Yeah, I think that was potential. I don't know if COVID had anything to do with making that rule, but I know that there were a lot of people that were like, oh, got to be 6 feet apart, and you can't fit that many people into that area, and you have to stay 6 feet apart and all that stuff. So I'm just throwing that out there as maybe that was the reason why it was put into place.
Maybe so. As time has gone on, we've realized that some of the masks didn't work, didn't help.
Well, but on the packaging itself for the N95 masks said does not prevent illness or something along those lines, which I thought was kind of funny. Wear these, you'll get sick. But
well, when you wear it and you take it off and you throw it in the dash, and then you put it back on, you exposed everything.
Yeah,
it's not going to help.
Yeah,
and I've seen people driving down the freeway. One person in the car wearing a mask, driving down the freeway
by themselves.
By themselves.
Well, you got to protect the car, you know.
Yes. So anyway.
Yeah. Well, the biggest one that I had was what really the hypocrisy with all of that. You have to wear your mask to come into a restaurant, but when you sit down, then you can take it off. It's like, okay, so the virus stays above 5 feet, or it's very kind and won't infect you if you're eating, or I don't know. Some of those rules were dumb.
Some of the rules were ridiculously.
So with that as a caveat, or a jumping off point, as a county commissioner, what are you going to do to protect the rights of Oneida County?
Well, I know with the planning and zoning ordinance, it needs some changes be made to it to protect the landowner,
right?
So that he has rights to do with what he wants. Most farmers in this valley, their farm is their retirement, and that's the way I look at it. It's their 401k, and so when it comes time, if they don't have any children to want to take over the farm, like for me, none of my family wanted to take over the farming business. And so as I sell pieces of property, to me, that's cashing in a little bit of my retirement. And I know that there's people out there that want to restrict that, but I've never had anybody come to me and say that I'll let you take care and manage my retirement. But they're always wanting to manage what you have, but you can't touch what I have.
Yeah. So when I talk about planning and zoning, often the question comes up, well, what if someone wants to put a mink farm or something right in the middle of town? We got to make sure that doesn't happen, because that just wouldn't work out.
Well, there some of that, like that next to town, they talked about if there's a big feed yard coming in or wanting to build that. Yeah, now there's special use permits that is implemented in that planning and zoning. But we got to remember that we are an agricultural community. We're an agricultural county, and we can't restrict the rights of agricultural business.
Well, the thought that came to my mind after this conversation was, well, if they're wanting to do something within the city limits, there's city ordinances for all of that stuff. So we shouldn't worry about them putting a mink farm or something in the middle of the city, because the city will make sure that doesn't happen.
City won't let it happen, and the city is pretty restrictive as it is. You're only allowed to have chickens if you have a full acre of ground.
Mhm.
And I know that there's a lot of people that have less than that have a few chickens in the back. They don't want to have a rooster, and I understand that, because they'll crow early morning in town and it will disturb the neighbors. Probably worse than a barking dog. But what harm is a few chickens in somebody's backyard?
And really, that's in the city. As a county commissioner, you're over the entire county, not specifically the city. So really, the whatever government is the most close to you should have the most control or most restrictions over that. And then the further out the government goes, the less restrictions there should be. We don't want a micromanaging government on every level, right?
We don't. No, we do not. But I do think that as a county commissioners need to work with the city council
Mhm.
and work together for the entire Oneida County.
Mhm.
Because people live in the city, even though you're in Malad City, you're still part of the county. And as county commissioners, I think we need to work together with the mayor and know what direction they're planning on going.
Right. I agree with that. So, with the issues that we're having overseas and things like that, gas prices are going up. Taxes are probably going to be going up. The value of the dollar is going to be going down. What can you do as a county commission to try and alleviate some of those problems?
Well, the gas, I mean, we have no control over gas.
Right.
And unfortunately, petroleum has links to everything that we do. They're saying the fertilizer is going to be higher, all of these things just because of the price of fuel.
Mhm.
I hope this issue in Iran comes to an end soon, so that our gas prices will come back down. But we've got one thing that I don't know if taxes always go up. They have a certain cap that they constantly go up every year.
Right.
They have a limit that they do. But with the growth that we've got in the valley, we should have a larger tax revenue income base to work off of. That we need to manage that a little bit better. I know that road and bridge on roads, people always say that, oh, my property taxes are high, but they don't do anything for the roads. Well, the road and bridge department, all the revenue that they get is strictly from the gas tax. So whatever, and it's not just what you pay at the pump, but it all goes to the state and it's divvied back out. And I don't know if it's by population or growth or how it's determined what county gets what, but our road and bridge, they do what they can do, and it's all off of the gas tax that is sent back from the state of Idaho.
So, with the revenue that the county gets is almost strictly from the residents of the county, unless they get a grant or something from the state or federal government. That there's a problem with that, because if there's no growth of people in Lad, then there's no growth of revenue, which I hate taxes being called revenue. I think it's theft personally.
Yeah. Well,
But but there's a lot of people that are saying, I don't want Malad to grow. I like it small the way it is. What can you do to balance those two things, keeping Malad small but increasing revenue so we can fix our roads and everything else that the county is needing? We don't have the money for.
yeah. So that's one thing. You can't have it both ways. You can't keep Malad the same, and because the cost of maintaining roads is, which is a big expense for the county, it continually goes up.
Mm-hmm.
That stuff is pretty high in price. Uh, I think we need to work towards uh, having a grant writer for a lot of things. I know that in the city they have had several grants from, I forgot her name, that wrote all the grants. Lewis, uh,
Lou Antonis?
no,
Okay.
I can.
Horrible.
Mrs. Thomas.
Yes.
Mrs. Thomas. She has wrote so many grants for the city, and I know that the county has worked on some grants, but there's grants for that. I know that the state of Idaho in the past has given spray to the county, the county residents that have an issue with the noxious weed can sign for it and pick up that spray. And I think it's everybody's responsibility in the county to maintain a noxious weed problem on their property. Because if they don't, then it becomes everybody's problem.
Mm-hmm.
So, and noxious weeds come up, and you may never know why they came up on your ground.
They mean on the wind.
Or bird or whatever, they just show up.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but I know that they give the county so much spray, and I think we all need to utilize some of that grant monies. And same as if we can get grants for some of the road construction, road business. I mean, there's money out there.
Yeah.
You just have to fight for it. And I know that some of the bigger cities and that they seem to get their fair share. We just need to work together and try and improve our county.
So what would you do to encourage an appropriate amount of growth in the valley?
Well, one thing that I would really like to see is that when businesses come to Malad, that our planning and zoning ordinance, our code, that they'll work together with them and encourage businesses that complement Oneida County, that go along with agricultural businesses. I think it's very important to have those businesses in Malad, so that, say, if you have a family member that wants to help work on the farm. I mean, every farm in the valley can probably have 5 families on it that can work on it, but there's never enough income on a farm,
That is
or
true.
barely for one.
Mm-hmm.
If it wasn't for Hess Pumice for the last 20 years that I worked, I wouldn't have been able to keep the farm that I had. And so I think it's very important to have businesses here, attract businesses, keep people more in town rather than commuting out of town. When you commute out of town, you end up purchasing stuff all out of town.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, businesses in the Malad struggle.
I agree with that. So there's a fair few farmers in the valley. What do you think the county could do? Well, how could the populace support those farmers, and what could the county do to maybe grease the wheels, help that relationship happen? And I don't even know if there is a way. But
Well, I think everyone needs to respect the property owners that property owners do have rights on
Mhm.
their property. And it's not there that they can infringe upon you, but it's property that they own, that they pay taxes on for years, and they've worked it. It's been in their family for years. They put a lot of sweat and equity into it, and I think that uh, people that live in the city that just want to keep the land the same have got to realize how much work and effort that the farmer takes in. You got to remember, this county, the reason why this county is the way it is because of the farming. It's all built around the farming that's gone here. The people that have worked their farms. That's why Oneida County is a beautiful place to be and a good place to raise your family. And now and everyone likes it because it's a small farming community and everybody likes that. And now you want to penalize the farmers for making the county the way it was, the way it is.
So, do you think we could relax regulations so that there's a farmer back in Virginia, Joel Salatin. He runs Polyface Farm, and he runs his farm um, more like he's the landlord of a bunch of different businesses. So he has a guy that leases the garden from him, and then he pays him back by cooking meals for him. And he had his son get a milk cow, and that was another business. And so he rented out elements of his farm to 5 or 6 different people that wanted to do specific things that they didn't need an entire farm for. They just needed a little pot of land to do that specific thing. Do you think there's something we could do in Malad that could be similar to that?
Oh, like to me, whatever we can do is it's whatever. I would like it to see that. We do need to not be overreaching on the government, that we can control every aspect of a person's farm ground. We went from I guess before this 2020 or 2022 when this code came into effect, we went from, it was a pretty lax code to this massive 250-page structure of code that's so complicated that the administrator has to call the county engineer on almost everything, and it's just overburdensome.
Mm-hmm.
It's just gone from one extreme clear to the far other, and I think we need to bring it back. So this ordinance they adapted, from my understanding, is like a statewide ordinance.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, it's more one that's like it's for Ada County and not for a small agricultural community.
Yeah, Ada County and Oneida County are 2 different counties.
They are. They are. Boise is ran a whole bunch different than here,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it's almost the same code that's there and here. Now, I don't want to see land developers come in and put up housing developments just right on top of each other. That's not what I would like to see happen.
I don't think anybody wants to see that happen in Oneida County.
But having a small acreage with a home on it, especially if it's one of our family members, so they can have us the small acreage and be able to stay in the land, build a home, work on the farm, work in town, work outside, whatever they got to do to make a living to provide for the family. But yeah, there's a lot of restrictions that's in that code that is, to me, it's not appropriate at all.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but is it used to be that you could sell off your land in 1-acre chunks, and it was basically a single family dwelling on each 1-acre lot in the county? Is that how it worked?
I don't know what it used to be. I don't. I know now it's 40 acres.
Yeah, which is ridiculous.
You have to have 40 acres, yes. And so And most people that want to buy a little place out in the country, and don't get me wrong, I don't have anything against the city, but there's no there's no additional houses in town. There's always people looking for a home to buy or to rent, and there's nothing available. And so, I having a smaller acreage, and I've heard of some people that came to Malad. They used to live in Malad years ago, or was raised in Malad. They bought a 10-acre chunk of ground, and they've gone and worked Salt Lake or somewhere for years, and they want to come back to Malad and retire, and they come back and find out that they are not allowed to build because they don't have 40 acres.
That doesn't seem right.
It don't seem right.
So there's, and again, I don't know if there's anything county commissioners could do about this. There's a lot of alternative methods of building. Like one thing I really wanted to do with my house was to put a wicking bed, was a reed bed system in instead of my sewage system. But I was not allowed because of rules and regulations.
No.
And the reed bed system wouldn't replace the septic, it would replace the leach field. So instead of the sewage going into the leach field, it would go into a reed bed system, which would clean the water enough that you could just water your plants with it afterwards.
Okay.
Great. I thought it would be a great opportunity to use my water that is kind of important in Malad.
Yes.
But I wasn't it didn't match the code. I don't know if that was a state code or county, but I had to go with the standard leach field. What's your
everything's on that? Everything's done by the state.
What can you do as a county commission to give us our rights back with things like that?
I don't know. I don't know how that will work.
Would you fight for it though?
Oh yeah.
There we go.
I mean, it sounds like it's a better system than what we have. Right now, I mean, on this, I had to have on my lots that I did, I had to have, besides the state health and welfare take a soil sample, I had to get information from NRCS as to what was in the soil there, which was easy. I went in and they printed right off, and they said, "Oh, I can tell you what's in the top 6 inches, top foot, 2 feet, 4 feet, 6 feet, however deep you want to go." They said, "We got all that information." And the health department lady come and she took her soil sample, but I had to hire a soil engineer to come and take the third sample to determine what the drain field could be. And so that was a big expense having the third person. It's like, why did the state even charge me or want to do it, take the sample? If she's not qualified to do it, then why do I need to even pay her? I shouldn't have had to pay her and pay 3 times more for a soil engineer to come and take it.
Yeah.
So yes, there is a lot of restrictions that's on the state. But yes, the state needs to look into alternative methods.
Mm-hmm. And I would really like to see just doing away with virtually every regulation. I know that's pie in the sky idealism, but how expensive is it, or how much more expensive is it for us when we're struggling nowadays? How much more expensive is it for us to do the things when we want, when 50, 100 years ago, you get 40 acres and a mule and good luck?
Yeah.
I would love to have 40 acres and a mule and good luck. Leave me alone. Let me do what I want.
Yes.
If I'm gonna screw up my neighbor's property, I should be penalized for that. But otherwise, it's my life. It's my property. Let me alone.
I think most everybody in Malad, everyone wants to be a good neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're not a good neighbor, then there's just conflicts all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But everyone wants to be a good neighbor. And I don't think anybody wants to infringe on anything that would impede or be illegal or do anything that would uh, harm the neighbor's ground.
Mm-hmm.
So, no, yeah, there's a lot of alternative methods of whether it's farming or just like you want to do on your septic that the state really needs to look into, especially when we're in a drought.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it'd be wonderful to have what extra 30 gallons or 40 gallons of water to water my plants with.
Yeah,
That would be wonderful.
run it out into water your fruit trees or
Mm-hmm.
anything like that.
Yeah,
It'd be nice. Yeah, I can see your point.
yeah, exactly. So, with the school district we've got here, I've heard that um, the elementary school it's not going to be, or we're going to need to pay more because the state changed rules or something. Is that anything that the county needs to worry about?
Well, yes, I've never heard for sure if the lawsuit that's happened, if we've heard anything on it. That's something that I probably really need to follow up and find out.
Mm-hmm.
But uh, that, yeah, that was a shame that happened. That the funding was everything was right, correct when we applied for everything and built the elementary school, and then it was pulled away from us.
Mm-hmm.
It was wrong on the state's end, but I know that it was supposed to be in a lawsuit, and I haven't heard anything more about it. But yeah, we got to worry about it because if it doesn't come through, then we're going to be taxed for it.
So I guess that goes back to what can we do to increase the revenue for the county so that we can pay for that then.
Well, if that if we don't win on that lawsuit, from what I gather, it'll just end up being a bond election, and we'll all end up paying for it out of property taxes.
Which I have my own problems with. So how often do you pay taxes on your clothing?
Oh, just pay it once.
Your car?
Yeah, once when you buy it.
Why is it that you pay every
Property
year for
tax every
property?
year. Oh, that's a good question.
Or is it that you don't actually own the property?
I've heard some people say that. The way it is right now, yeah, we might be caretakers of it, but we have to pay taxes on it every year. And with PLZ, they have the controlling interest of your property. And
So what is your thought of instead of property tax, just do away with property tax altogether and just increase consumption tax, sales tax?
no, I haven't looked into it to see what would be better. I mean, at one time when they talked about just the sales tax and did away with income tax, to me, I go, that's a simpler way. Very simple.
Yeah, and any out of towner that came through, they'd help pay
Yeah,
because they'd be buying.
yes, it'd be fine, especially Utahns coming in there.
That's what I'm saying.
Between lottery tickets and beer sales. So
Yeah, I don't know if it would work, but I love the idea.
I do too. I've always liked the idea because to me, it just makes it so simple.
Mm-hmm.
Those that buy something big and expensive, they pay their fair share, and those that can't afford it, they pay, but it's all the same percentage.
Mm-hmm.
We all pay our share of what we buy.
And then you actually own your property and you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay. I should have written down more questions. Was there anything you were wanting to share?
Oh, let's see. I wrote down a few things. A couple things about water conservation. I mean, we're a mountain desert, and so especially this year, we got to really watch our water.
Mhm.
We can all be doing conservative efforts of watching what we water, when we water, and how we water.
Yeah.
Especially this year, we just can't be wasteful. I know that a lot of people say the groundwater in the ground is going down, and it has for years, and we had wet spots on our farm back in the 70s, and by the about 1980, those wet spots dried up, but there wasn't any growth really in the land. It's just that really shallow surface water had disappeared. And I know the flowing wells down the haylands, they are not under pressure as much as they used to be. And so they've changed. Some of them have gone down. But from what I hear, we're underneath the big aquifer of water. It may be deeper than 100 feet or 200 feet or whatever it is. But they claim there's a big aquifer underneath us, and that we do need to be conservative.
So what would you think about doing some major earthworks around the valley to better utilize our water to prevent evaporation?
Earthworks. What do you refer?
Well, I watched a video years ago called "Greening the Desert," where a guy went to the Jordan Desert, about 5 kilometers from the Dead Sea, and he built a fruit orchard. And he built it on contour, and every row of trees, there was a ditch right before the mound that he put the trees on. And then he put drip lines down, and then he put about 1.5 feet of mulch everywhere. And after he finished, his caretaker a few months later called him, freaking out that there was stuff growing that he didn't know what it was. So we sent him some pictures. It was mushrooms in Jordan.
Oh, wow.
And the government came out and said, "What are you doing? Are you desalting the soil? How much water are you using?" Turns out they're using 1/10 the amount of water that all the farms around are using.
Yeah.
And the fungal growth in the soil was locking up the salt.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I around my fruit trees, I have compost mulch around them. Stuff like that really keeps the moisture in the ground.
So my thought was, any landowner that wants to, around the benches, especially above the reservoirs, if we could put those, they're called swales, the ditches in contour, line them with trees, and try and absorb as much water into the land, pop them into ponds, and then those ponds could be fed directly into the reservoirs, so that you can double the capacity of the reservoir through those ponds upstream. It also cleans the stream, so you're not getting as much silt going into the reservoirs.
That brings me to a thing that I wish was done years ago. So in the late 70s, for Daniels Reservoir, used to be everyone had free water because they had so much water, it was running over the spillway, and they were just trying to get everybody to water whenever they could. And we used to flood irrigate, and we watered clear till we watered pretty well every crop, flooded every crop with free water. And then we went on water turns for the rest of the year. And then they started saying that the reservoir is going to fill up with sediment and silt from runoff. And so they met together and decided that they would put in terraces and dikes. But nobody ever said that, hey, in doing so, you're going to stop the flow runoff water from getting in the reservoir. So Daniels Reservoir used to be the best water availability water in the county, to now we get about 50%. of our water. Is all we get because the reservoir does not fill. It has thousands of dikes or terraces or mini dams, whatever you want to call them, that have to get full before any runoff, if ever any runoff, gets to the reservoir. I think that what should have happened was they should have put in a grassed waterway down the low spots.
Mhm.
And so runoff would run to the grass. The grass would pull the sediment out, and we'd have water, runoff water, getting into the reservoir. And Daniels would be back to being a very good water system.
Yeah, I would probably. Are you familiar with what a gabion is?
Yes. The fence? The rock fence?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one thing I'd love to see done all over in the washes, so that instead of when we get a big rainstorm, it just runs crazily down the washes and has all sorts of silt going carrying with it. Pop in a bunch of gabions, and they're basically silt traps.
Yes.
Lets the water slow down so that the silt can stop there, and then the cleaner water can continue down.
Continue down, and the silt stays back on your farm.
Mm-hmm.
Or it should be.
Yep, exactly. Sorry. Anything else?
Let's see. Oh, another thing that was talked about was our county employees, keeping our county retention of our county employees. Uh, our wages that we pay are pretty low. We're not even comparable to the state, what the state employees get paid. And also, whether it's the county workers or the sheriff's department, both of them, we need to improve that wage. I don't know where the money's coming from to do it. It's something that's going to have to be budgeted for. But I think we need to pay our employees because they're the backbone of our city and our county. I mean, we got to have a good sheriff's department. We got to have good county workforce, and we need to take care of what. And they, as of right now, I've heard that they pay the county employee insurance, but they don't offer anything for a family plan, and I don't think that's right at all.
Mm-hmm.
Insurance it's one of those things you got to have, but it's an expensive thing to have. But if you don't have it, you could be in you could be in trouble the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that the county, as a functioning county, should be able to offer a family plan for county employees.
Well, that goes back to revenue. If you don't have the money to spend, then you don't have the money to spend. So we need to increase the amount of tax dollars that the county has, right?
Yeah, but our tax dollars, we have more people moving in here, so our revenue should be going up
That's true.
enough that we should be able to compensate. Because right now, our deputies department, or sheriff's department, is short a couple of deputies. We get somebody in, we get them working, we send them to post, get them trained. They come back, they do their time so that the county pays for their post, and then another county or someone else snatches them up, pays them more money, and they're gone. And so it's not very feasible for our county to train everybody
Mm-hmm.
and then send them off on their way.
That makes sense. Anything else?
No, I think we about covered everything. We covered weeds. Except road and bridge, I think Diana's doing a pretty good job with what money they have.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know there's always potholes and everyone's complaining about something, but I mean, she has to work with a limited workforce, and equipment and fuel costs and all that are expensive, and so. But I think that most of our county employees are doing a pretty good job, and I think we need to commend them, even though you might have a pothole out in front of your house. All you got to do is call, and let them know, and it does. You know, they seem to come out. They do for me out in St. John. If I have a pothole, I let them know, and it might take them a week or two, but they get out, get it taken care of. So we want our roads to be safe. You know.
Yep.
We want to. Yeah. We want our roads to be safe, and so.
All right. Well, I appreciate your time. Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much.
You're welcome.